Welcome to Almanac North. I'm Maria Hewitt.
And I'm Brett Scott. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, we're meeting with Majority in the Middle, a group looking to help improve civility and political and private life.
We're also chatting with the All-American Club, a local group that raises funds for those in need as they prepare to celebrate a huge milestone.
Those stories and much more coming up, but first we begin with headlines. A new third-party report highlights the major economic and community impact of Essentia Health in the Twin Ports. The not-for-profit health system generates more than $4.5 billion in annual economic activity and supports nearly 15,000 jobs in the region. System-wide, that number climbs to over 24,000 jobs and $7.7 billion in impact across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and also North Dakota. Essentia also invests heavily in community partnerships, supporting everything from mental health to affordable housing, and has provided over $490 million annually in charity care and community programs. Leaders say the report underscores Essentia's role not just in healthcare, but as a key economic driver and community partner across the Northland.
Minnesota health officials are endorsing new COVID-19 vaccine guidance from leading medical associations for the 2025-26 season. The Minnesota Department of Health says it's now following recommendations from groups like the American Academy of Pediatrics and Family Physicians, which advise that everyone 6 months and older should have access to the vaccine, especially young children, seniors, pregnant women, and those with health risks. The state is also making it easier to get vaccinated by issuing a standing order allowing pharmacists to give COVID shots, including to kids 3 and up. This shift comes as federal guidance on vaccines becomes less clear and state leaders move to protect access for all Minnesotans. Vaccines are already arriving at clinics and pharmacies, with more expected in the coming weeks.
St. Louis County is now accepting proposals for projects that help prevent the spread of aquatic invasive species in local lakes and rivers. The county will award over $700,000 in state grant funding in 2026 through Minnesota's Aquatic Invasive Species Prevention and Program. Eligible projects should focus on education, early detection, control efforts, and reducing the social or economic impact of invasive species like zebra mussels, spiny water fleas, and milfoil. Now, applications are due November the 21st, with grants announced in January and projects starting next spring. Since 2014, St. Louis County has distributed $7.5 million to support prevention efforts, including boat inspections, decontamination, and also public outreach. More details and application forms are available at stlouiscountymn.gov.
Well, the Canal Park construction project is nearing completion. Our team caught up with project engineer Monica Anderson to see how the work is progressing. Take a look.
I'm Monica Anderson. I'm the lead project engineer and COR here on the Duluth Ship Canal contract for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. We are well underway in construction here at the tail end of the summer season, moving into fall. And we have completed the stone revetment that you see us standing on here today and behind me. Also, the T-wall that accompanies that stone revetment is complete. Now we're working on all of the upland improvements and the second phase of the project before we finish up the site and return it back to the public for use. We had to build the stone revetment and the T-wall kind of at the same time, so place about half the stone, pour the base of the T-wall that's right next to us, and then come back and build the vertical part of the wall that ties into the city portion, and then place the rest of the stone against that wall once it was strong enough to support that. And now we're moving into the upland phases, which you can see there's a lot of excavation happening next to us, and you'll see some rebar and concrete and steel forms. Those will be the display bed walls for the future home of the existing artifacts and some new artifacts. So the public has been pretty interested in the project throughout the summer. We've had a lot of interest, a lot of positive feedback for the most part on being excited to see improvements in this area, especially with the recent improvements from the city of Duluth in the last few years. Everyone's excited to have the lake walk be complete in this portion and have a continuous area to recreate on. So it's an exciting process to be able to bring a design from on paper to 3D in real life. It's been really exciting to see this revetment behind us come to life, knowing that it's got the most important job of the entire site, and that's to keep Lake Superior where it needs to be and keep the land where it needs to be, which is always the challenge with construction. Yeah, so I grew up just north of here on the Iron Range, and I remember as a child begging my dad to not just go to the shopping districts of Duluth and stay up at the Miller Hill Mall. I would have to convince my entire family that there was a reason to come down to Canal Park, and that was to see the lake or try to catch a ship. So we would usually mosey down here after we did all our back to school shopping or Christmas shopping, and spend some time at the piers and be hopefully lucky enough to catch a ship. So it's been surreal to come full circle and now be able to work for some of the organizations and partner with the local governments on maintaining this facility for other locals just like myself and tourists that come from all over the country and the world to come see not only Lake Superior and the shipping industry, but what our town has to offer also. I'm really excited to see the public come back and recreate in this space. It's my favorite part of working down in this area is seeing everyone enjoying the green space, having picnics on the grass, taking a break on the benches, or really it's where people bring their family and friends.
Looks like a lot of progress down there. Joining us now to talk about their upcoming event in Duluth is Shannon Watson, Executive Director of Majority in the Middle. Thank you for joining us,
Absolutely.
Shannon.
Thanks for having me back.
It's great to have you back. You were on just about a month ago.
I think so.
Shannon, so maybe you could remind us all exactly what is Majority in the Middle. What's your mission?
Yeah, Majority in the Middle is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization, and we work to equip and empower civility in political and civic spaces.
You have a big event coming up right here in Duluth, which
Yes.
you impact statewide, correct?
We do,
But you're doing
yes.
an event right here in Duluth on September 30th. Explain what that is all
Yes,
about.
on Tuesday. So we have been on sort of a statewide tour with our Civic Pledge for a Stronger Minnesota, and this is an event where elected officials, community leaders, neighborhood leaders, just normal people come and sign a pledge that says that we're going to engage peacefully with our neighbors and denounce political violence and find common ground.
Why Duluth as one of the stops?
It was suggested to us very early on. We had a kickoff event at the end of July, and that involved some people from this area, and they said, hey, you should really bring this here. And that's actually how the statewide tour got started, was people from different communities saying, hey, can you do this here? Because I couldn't come to the cities for this. Can you do this here? And we say absolutely yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
What can attendees expect when they go to the event? What can they expect to learn?
So I start off and do a few opening comments, and then Nathan Stock, who is a national and international expert on political violence, I tell him he has a very unfortunate job, but he's based here in Minnesota, and so he talks a little bit about what pledges mean to a community, how other communities have sort of resisted political violence in the past. And then we have everybody who is interested in signing the pledge stand up and introduce themselves and literally go through a signing. And we've got certificates and commemorative pens. And then we all go our separate ways.
It's been like a tumultuous 4 or 5 months
Yes.
For our country and in Minnesota and nationally. How does that impact the work you do? Is it getting harder to bring it in the middle?
That's a really good question. So some of this work, the pledges specifically, came out of the violence that was perpetrated against our legislators on June 14th, the killing of the Hortmans and the shooting of the Hoffman family. And then, just less than 2 weeks ago, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I think that that did something in particular for Minnesota. The first thing was part of the reason that June 14th was so jarring was because we haven't had to deal with political violence here. That hasn't been something that has come to our state. So we first had to deal with it, and then with that shooting being so public and so much social media, all of a sudden, I think it did two things. It makes people remember that why we're doing the work that we're doing is important. But I think the other thing that it did, particularly for Minnesota, was sort of re-traumatize people from what happened in June. Mm-hmm. And so neither of those things are great, but they do sort of elevate the need for the work.
Mm-hmm.
You said something so simple when we were talking before our interview this evening, just to be kind to your neighbor and
Absolutely. Yeah.
elaborate on that.
You know, the thing that people are looking for is, you know, they need the big answer, the big solution to these problems. And the problems of division are generally sort of an avalanche of a bunch of little snowflakes. You know, that's what it feels like. And in the same way, you sort of have to melt each snowflake individually. So little things are actually big things. So being kind to a neighbor or a coworker who you wouldn't normally get along with, signing a pledge, coming out to an event, saying hello to somebody, you know, holding the door in the grocery store. A lot of these things that Minnesotans are generally doing anyway, but doing it one more time, that can really help, like, sort of stitch together our civic fabric.
When we're talking about civility, is there a foundational, like, quality or item that is needed to move forward? Like that's the key to get to that point where you can be civil in a conversation?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the things that we have done with this pledge is we made it super simple on purpose. This is supposed to be sort of the lowest common denominator baseline of things that everybody can agree on. So, I mean, you look at it and it's like, well, yeah, of course we all agree on that. It's kind of a duh. But that's what we need. We need there to be a foundation of, yes, everybody agrees on this. It doesn't matter what political affiliation you have, what your background's like, where you come from, where you live. We can all agree on this, and that gives us something to build on.
Can you share with us some examples of bipartisan work that is coming out of northeastern Minnesota?
Good question. You know, I think this region in particular has a long history of bipartisanship, and some of the work isn't visible when you just look at, you know, the letters behind people's names. I know that most of the legislators in this area have done very good work, and it's good work because it flies under the radar. It's some of these common sense things. I want to say that when the House of Representatives this year, when it you know, went to the tie after that special election, it was 67-67 starting on, I think it was March 17th. One of the first bills that got through, like 130 something to 0, were a couple of bills that Representative Scraba had, and they were really common sense things, like allowing I don't remember if it was a township or a board, somebody couldn't find 5 members, and so allowing them to have 3 members. Like, that had to run through the state legislature to be permissible. But that's something that everybody can agree on. There's no drama. There's no, you know, travesty around that. It's, yes, we can do this. And so elevating those things one at a time, I think was really helpful in setting that.
Shannon, real quickly, Tuesday, what are the details?
Yes, Tuesday, 1 p.m., Zeitgeist Auditorium, or Atrium. We have information, and we do ask people to RSVP on the website, whatwecandoweek.org.
Great. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us again, and thank you for all the work you do.
Thank you.
A Lincoln Park staple is celebrating 90 years of business next month. To learn more, we're joined by Glenn Gilderman of the All-American Club. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
90 years, Glenn, that's a long time. Of course, you haven't been around for all 90 years, right? But what does that accomplishment mean to you and your organization?
That neighborhood has changed quite a bit over all those years, and one of the constants has been the All-American Club. So, you know, to see it go from over the last 10 or 15 years turn into a very kind of a bustling neighborhood, and has been really good to be part of that.
Yeah, and the All-American Club has remained constant. So tell us about what you do, because your business, a restaurant, bar, but also a group that is fundraising. So how does that all work together?
Mixed package. We do a lot of stuff for the community. It's a bar establishment. but it also we're good neighbors in our area, and we want to make sure that that neighborhood stays positive. And you know, to be a member of the club, you don't have to be a member to come into the All-American Club. But if you are a member, then we expect and hope that you'll help us out with all the stuff that we do for the community.
Tell us a little bit about the history of the All-American Club. How did it start?
So it started back in really even before 1935 with the idea, and there were a lot of clubs at the time. There were like the Italian American Club and the Polish American Club, and the story that has been handed down is that the people who started this club wanted a club for all Americans. So they wanted to invite anybody in that wanted to be involved. So they started like in late 1933 or something like that as an organization, but moved around to a couple, and then was chartered in 1935. It's kind of officially chartered, and then moved into the building it's in now in about 1940, in the early 1940s.
Oh, that's a cool beginning story.
Right.
How did you decide where your mission went to, and who and how you were helping?
So yeah, we sat down a few years ago and did a mission statement and a vision statement, and in that we really wanted to make sure that we weren't just a bar, that we were a place that was going to be involved in our community and wanting to help out in as many ways as we can and help the families that live in the Duluth and the surrounding areas, and to help kids, and we also have the Elks who are in our building with us, and they're really focused on veterans, and so is the All-American Club. So that's kind of our focus, is kids and families and veterans and different groups like that.
And you're also doing an Honor Flight fundraiser, it sounds like.
Yeah,
Tell us a
we've
little bit about that.
Done that quite a few times now. Sharon Larson is one of our members. This is kind of her baby, and she has raised a lot of money. We do fundraisers once a year for the Honor Flight. Last year raised something like $14,000, and that's sending a lot of veterans out to Washington, D.C. And Honor Flight is just an awesome organization that they get to send people out for a day, and they go out and back in the same day just to see Washington, D.C. and the memorials that are dedicated to them and different things like that. So yeah, Sharon has done a really good job with that.
What about kids? How do you make an impact with kids?
In a few different ways. One of the ways that we always do a school supply drive, and there's the company called Companies to Classrooms, or Classroom to Companies. We collect as much as we can of school supplies and things like that, and then donate it to that organization. And then around the holidays, we always support or sponsor a few different families, and we look for families that have kids. And provide them with all kinds of different presents and things that they want. They make out a list, and we try to fulfill that. And we do 3 or 4 families a year. That I've delivered those baskets before, and that's a pretty cool thing.
That has to be rewarding.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Very rewarding. What is the overall health of your membership? Have you seen it grow over the years?
It's kind of been up and down. I think at one time they had about 200 members, and there was a waiting list, and this was back in the 40s and 50s, and we have about 150 to 175 members now. And it's grown and shrunk a little bit, but it's stayed right around that area. So we have a lot of members, and so a lot of people to call on to help out with different things. But again, we have a lot of people that come in to the All-American Club that aren't members, that are really involved in helping us out with things there too. So.
I never really realized that you could go into the All-American Club.
You hear that a lot.
I didn't either.
You hear that a lot, yeah. We're open to the public, and a lot of people will come in and go, "Can we come in here?" And we're like, "Yeah, come on in." And we do get a lot of people that are, walking, especially in the summertime, walking the Lincoln Park Craft District, and they will stop in for a little break from the breweries and the cideries and things like that, and they a lot of people from the cities who are walking, but a lot of Duluth people too, and that's how you get members. They come in, and we've been told before that we're like a small town bar in a big city.
Yeah, I believe
you
it.
walk in, and that's what it feels like.
So you have a big celebration coming up for
Yes.
the 90th anniversary. Tell us about
Yeah,
that.
we're kind of doing a combined Oktoberfest and 90th birthday or anniversary celebration, and we're gonna have all kinds of really cool stuff. We're going Oktoberfest old school and having a polka band from 4 to 6, and then having the Burnin' Verns, a rock band, come in at 7 o'clock. But we have an authentic German meal that's going to be supplied by Keith Dupree, and we have a bunch of like steinholding contests and kind of fun stuff like that. And a lot of games for people and kids and all kinds of things like that. So it's going to be fun. We have a competition between Blacklist and Bent Paddle to who has the best German beer. So they're doing a lot of trash talking with each other about who has the best German beer. So it should be fun.
So that's October 4th,
October 4th.
correct? And all are welcome to come support?
Everybody's welcome. We would love to have people come in and see what the All-American Club's all about.
Oh, wonderful. Glenn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you.
Well, before we go, let's take a look at what you might be up to this weekend. Earlier this spring, the Brimson, Minnesota and surrounding area was devastated by wildfires. Despite that, the Brimson Market has held on Saturday mornings from July the 4th through Labor Day. This Saturday, they will hold a special harvest market on Saturday, September the 27th, from 9 a.m. until noon on the Hugo Stores grounds.
End-of-season vendors will include baked goods, homemade condiments, arts and crafts, various flea market items, and plenty of live music. Located in Brimson, Minnesota, the market is open to the public and the whole family is welcome to attend and support local efforts to restore the area and come together as a community.
Now for a special message from PBS North Senior Director of Engineering and Operations, John Panzer, and Director of Development, Natalie Hest.
Hello. As many of you know, Almanac North has been a staple in the Northland for nearly 35 years.
Together, we've shared the local politics, vibrant arts, and the stories that affect our communities. It's a legacy we are incredibly proud of.
It's with a mix of gratitude and excitement for the future that we're announcing a change. This will be the final episode of Almanac North.
This decision is not a result of federal funding cuts. It's a proactive choice by PBS North to adapt and meet you where you watch, on demand, on your phones, and through streaming apps. We're innovating to keep our mission of serving the community strong for years to come.
While this chapter is closing, a new one is beginning. We're building on the trusted legacy of this program with an exciting new show called In Business with Almanac North, which premieres on November 6th.
It will focus on the economic heart of our region, exploring the challenges and innovations of local businesses across northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Built from conversations with local chambers of commerce, the show will bring trusted voices and perspectives from across our communities.
You can get In Business with Almanac North wherever you are. Live on PBS North Explore, simulcast on the North 103.3, live on YouTube and Facebook, and on demand through the PBS app, YouTube, and pbsnorth.org and the north1033.org.
And finally, a heartfelt thank you to our hosts, Denny, Maria, and Brett, for their quality journalism and embodiment of PBS North's mission. They've been the heart of this show, and we're grateful for their incredible work.
As we conclude Almanac North tonight, we have some news to share. This will be our final broadcast as hosts.
This show has been such an important part of our community conversation. It has been our privilege to sit at this desk sharing the stories and voices that shape northern Minnesota and Wisconsin.
We wanted to thank all of you, the viewers, for inviting us into your homes every Thursday, every Friday, and for trusting us to bring you the stories that matter. Your support and engagement have meant everything.
While Almanac North is coming to a close in its current form, the program is not ending, it's transitioning its focus.
PBS North will be carrying forward the Almanac North brand into a new chapter, In Business with Almanac North. This new program will spotlight the challenges and opportunities facing our region's small businesses and also the local economy.
New beginnings are part of every tradition. Just as Almanac North carried forward the stories of this region for decades, In Business with Almanac North will carry that spirit into the future. Different in focus, but grounded in the same mission, telling the stories that connect us to one another and to this place we call home.
It has been our privilege, of course, to share meaningful stories with you and to reflect on the issues happening together in our community.
From all of us, thank you for the years of conversation, connection, and community. It has truly been an honor. For the last time on Almanac North, good night, and thank you.